Hey guys, greetings in the name of Jesus Christ. Man, it has been a rough couple of days. Lots of stuff going on. And just influx of stuff to put out on videos. And I've been tied up the last couple of days with helping people out do other stuff. I just got back from taking my wife to the hospital for a surgery she had scheduled. Lots of stuff going on. Now I'm telling you, it's nuts how fast and how often things are happening, and you can't keep up with it. The amount of earthquakes that have already happened in the first, it's not even been 3 months of this year, has almost matched how many earthquakes above 4.0 we had last year. Volcanoes erupt, and just everything is coming apart. People are almost getting into wars. We got fighting going on over there in the Mideast. Things going on up in the sky and the stars and all that. It's so much. You'd have to have a panel of a dozen people just to sit down and keep up with this stuff, and even then I don't think they'd keep up with all of it. So this is going to be a quick one. I'm still getting some information for the big video I'm going to do, because I got a bunch of information to put out, because I'm starting to see another big misunderstanding coming up, just like the rapture debate. We're heavily divided. Well, there's another one now coming up about repenting while you're a Christian after you come to the Lord. I'm seeing a lot of misunderstanding where a lot of people think one and done, don't have to worry about it anymore. Well, your salvation is one and done, but if you continue to willfully sin after you start walking with the Lord, the Bible, I found all the scriptures. It's very clear on what the Lord expects of us. But anyway, that's another video. I have something for this video, and this will be a little quicker so I can have time to get the other one together. And it's been a few days and I haven't put a video out. But I had a couple of stories to share. Basically, this video is going to be titled, "Are You Still Judging by What You See? Check This Out." Now, the first story doesn't really apply to that. It's just something I found last night that's amazing. No, today. That's amazing. But I got another story to share with you. Actually, two of them. About judging people before you know exactly what's going on. Because that's been across the board. There's always been judging and judgmental in the Christian community. First, let me tell you this story. An astrophysicist sat down and he wanted to do calculations on the odds of Bible prophecy being fulfilled during Jesus' lifetime. So he picked out 7. And he sat down, he did the odds that those 7 prophecies would be fulfilled in Jesus Christ's timeline. And what he's trying to do is he's trying to prove the Bible accurate. And he's trying to show that was Jesus Christ, and those prophecies did apply to him when he lived. And he wanted to show the accuracy and the odds of this stuff actually happening, and happening in his lifetime. And when he sat down, when he got done with the math, and it was a bunch of math, when he got done with the math, he came up with that the odds of 7 prophecies about Jesus being fulfilled in Jesus' lifetime are 1 in 10 to the 17th power. That's 1 in 10 quadrillion millions, something like that. A bunch. 17 zeros past the 10. Huge odds. I mean, I've never even heard those odds before. But that's what he came up with for all of our history. The odds of those 7 landing on that time frame, on that life of that person. That's the odds for it. But actually 109 prophecies were fulfilled in Jesus' lifetime. What do you think the odds are of that? So if anybody ever tells you, oh, the Bible's not accurate, oh, it's this, it's that, well, the Bible currently is 100% accurate. If you want to know about all the cities and all the places and everything, go look up Ron White's videos. Go watch videos about the Middle East. They found everything. I don't think there's anything hidden anymore. I think they found every bit of everything that came from the Bible. But yeah, for 7 prophecies to be fulfilled in Jesus' lifetime was 1 in 10 to the 17th power. But in actuality, 109 prophecies were fulfilled in his lifetime. That's amazing. But that just goes to show you the power of God and what He does and how He works and how He proves Himself. And in this time right now that we're living in, with all the things that we're seeing, He is showing that He is on the throne and He is in power. Now, let's get to the crux of the video. I always read the comments on any video I watch. I'm actually in a pretty heavy study right now about preterism and futurism. I've been watching a bunch of videos, and if I can download those videos, I'll upload them so you guys can watch them. It's a pretty heated debate, but one guy gets broke down pretty good. But this video is about judging, and a lot of Christians are judging. A lot of Christians are holding themselves in pretty high regard, thinking that, well, you guys believe in pre-trib, you guys believe in saying that the whole tribulation is God's wrath. Just pick something, and they start talking about how stupid we are, and we don't know what we're talking about, and anybody else, somebody who's done studies for 10, 20, 30, 50 years, people that have studied, they're telling people on videos, people that have studied longer, this person's been alive, that person's telling them they don't know what they're talking about. You're reading the Bible wrong. He studied longer than you've been alive, dude. He has access to stuff you don't have access to. And there's new stuff that has come out in the last 10 years. How could he possibly be wrong? But I digress. The judgmentalism, and I deal with it on a daily basis where I go. That's the nature of humans. But it's bad and it's strong. So I want to tell you a story. There was a guy, he's a new pastor, and he came to a town up in Missouri years ago. And he got there, he was energetic, he to the point, stuck to the Bible, really drove home, our walk with the Lord, how we should conduct ourselves, staying away from things that weren't good for us, don't be drinking a bunch, don't be going to the bars and clubs, don't be messing around with other people, with sexual immorality, all kinds of stuff. And he had been there, I think, about a year. And church was full. It was doing great. And one night, one of the country boys that goes there, he went to a local bar. And he was going to go have drinks with one of his buddies. And as he's walking in there, he sees a guy sitting at the bar. And this dude just broke down. You can tell he's rough. And he's spent a lot of time in there. And as he walked past him, he glanced over, and it was the pastor sitting there, and he had a beer in his hand. And the guy thought, whoa, what is this? This guy's been telling us not to do this stuff, and look, he's sitting in here doing this. So he goes and sits down, and he watches the pastor for a while. And he sees him drinking and carrying on with that guy. So he gets his phone out, and he calls a couple of people he knows that goes to the church, and he told them. Well, but by the time Sunday came, word had gotten through the whole church of what this guy saw him do. And a bunch of people didn't show up. Then the next Sunday, even more people didn't show up. And the next Sunday, almost nobody showed up. He only had like a tenth of the people he had there. And he's standing there, he's like, what's going on? Is there something I missed? Is there something going on in town? Because the last couple of Sundays, the population's dropping. And that one guy was in there, and because he was looking for an opportunity so he can get a digs in on him, because you know how people are when it comes to Christianity. They see you do something they think is wrong, and you're preaching differently, they dig into you like crazy. And he was looking for his opportunity to do that. So he stood up and he said, well, you preach all this stuff, but you sure don't set the example. And he's like, what are you talking about? And the guy said, well, a couple weeks ago, I went down to the bar down there. You were sitting at the bar with a guy. You were drinking with this dude. And you tell us not to do that stuff. And he's like, you have no idea what you're talking about. You have no idea. He's like, oh, don't. He's like, don't try to, don't try to deny it. Because I saw you with my own eyes. He goes, I'm not going to deny I was there. I was there, but you don't know the situation. You don't know what's going on. They didn't want to hear nothing of it. So everybody walked out. They walked out of the church and they abandoned it. And they actually had to close the church for a while. Get new pastors in there and reopen the church, and it recovered over time. But that pastor had to leave. He had to move to another town and go to another church because his reputation had been ruined by what these people were saying. So a couple of months after things got back to normal, that guy went down to that bar again, and he saw that old man sitting at the bar. And he walked up and he said, "Hey, have you seen your drinking buddy?" And that old man turned and looked at him and said, "That wasn't my drinking buddy. I don't know what you people did at that church, but y'all ran him off. That man was doing everything he could to save me, because I lost my wife a couple of months ago, and I've been trying to drink myself to death, and he was talking me out of it. He goes, I don't know what you people did, but he took off, and now I got nobody to talk to. And he was the only one I trusted." And the guy was like, "Well, we didn't do anything. He preached this, and he did this, and so he was, he wasn't setting the example. He was this holier than thou, this and that." And the old man was like, "You have no idea what you've done. You have no idea what you saw." Well, while they were talking, the barmaid walked up, and she was like, "Yeah, you were there that night, and he was sitting up here." And the guy, the country boy, was like, "Hey, I saw him sitting here drinking." And she's like, "Yeah, he was sitting here, but he wasn't drinking." He's like, "What do you mean he had a beer in his hand?" She goes, "No, I keep an empty bottle back here that I washed out, and I fill it with water for him, and he drinks water. He does that so he looks like he fits in." She said, she pointed to the old man, she said, "This guy was trying to kill himself that night when you came in, and he sat there and talked him out of it. He's never had a beer. He's never drank in here. But he did that so he looked like he was, so he could break the ice and talk to people. He kept this guy from killing himself. And whatever you guys think you saw, or whatever, y'all ran him off." So a couple weeks went by. That country boy didn't show up to church for a couple weeks, and he showed up there. That old man moved. He moved to the town to follow the preacher. And at that Sunday that he showed up, that pastor was there. And the pastor was telling everybody what was going on, telling them he went to this other place. He was making connections with the other people that were there. And that country boy went up and he said, "Hey, pastor, I was the one that saw you at the bar that night and got all this stuff started, and I'm really sorry about it." And the pastor looked at him. He goes, "Well," he goes, this is the kind of thing that happens when you judge without asking. This is the kind of thing that I try to teach you guys. Don't judge a book by its cover. Don't judge by the outside appearances. Don't judge just by what you see, because you don't know what's actually going on. You guys had no idea what I was doing there. And if you'd have bothered to come up and ask, I would have told you. But this is what happens, and you almost ruined this church because nobody wanted to come back. These guys just got everything done, and I'm back here now trying to save my reputation because of what y'all did, because you didn't come talk to me." And he was like, "I'm sorry, preacher. I'm sorry, preacher." He goes, "I forgive you, but the damage is already done. If you would have just come and talked to me, I would have explained the situation." He said, "But now it's too late." And the story's not really true, but I told that story because that story was told to me a long time ago. I told you that story to prove a point. When you look at something that you see, and it appears to be a certain way, it may not be what you think. You may not be seeing what you think you're seeing. So you don't want to judge somebody by a post you see on YouTube or a video, like I'm doing a video now. You don't want to judge by what you're seeing, because you don't know what's going on the other side. You don't know what's going on in their heart. Only God knows what's going on in their heart. Now, here's a story that is true. There's it's in Florida. I think it's in Florida. There was a kid that he got saved, and he was going to the church, and the pastor was driving going to town or something, and he saw that kid cut the corner and walk across the street, and he went down where there's a motel where a lot of prostitutes hang out. So he cruised over, and he parked where he couldn't see him, and he watched him, and he saw the kid pay one of the prostitutes and go in a hotel room with him, and he was like, "Oh, here we go." He went back to church, raised a bunch of Cain, and next Sunday he threw that kid out. He said, "Hey, you can't come back here. I saw you down there doing that." He was like, "Wait a minute. You didn't see what you think you saw." So he threw him out, and later that day, when they got done with the service, he was talking to his co-pastor, and he was telling his co-pastor what happened, because they had asked, "Well, where'd the kid go? I just threw him out. He just became a Christian." "Oh, I saw him doing this. I saw him, he paid a hooker and went in the motel room with him." And the co-pastor was like, Did you not talk to him? I said, well, yeah, I did. I told him he had to go because I saw him over there. He goes, no. He's going down there. He's buying an hour of that prostitute's time, and he's ministering to them in the hotel room. And the pastor was like, oh my God, are you serious? Yes, I'm serious. He actually was doing this before he became a Christian. And he got saved because of the calling that he had been called to do. And so that pastor went out and found that kid, and he was at that motel, and he was like, I'm so sorry that I did that I threw you out. I'm sorry I judged you, but please forgive me for doing that. And the prostitutes came to his defense. And they were like, why did you do this to him? Why are you judging this kid? He's the only one that bothers to come here and talk to us. Nobody from the church ever comes down here and talks to us. But he does. And they stood in his defense. So, and that's a true story. That actually has happened. That's another example of you see something, you think it's a certain way. It's not necessarily that way. And that's why in the Bible it says it. Don't judge. Don't be judgmental about the situation you see, because your eyes can play tricks on you. You can see something that's not actually what you're seeing. And you don't know what's going on in that person's life. I catch a bunch of it now because I have health issues. And my church has laid hands on me a few times. But there's a couple of people in that church that look at me and say, well, you're still, you didn't get healed. You're still dealing with issues. What are you doing wrong? I'm not doing anything wrong. And I told the elder there, and I was like, just because I'm sick doesn't mean I messed up. It may be that the Lord is trying to show somebody else something by watching me doing what I'm doing and still having these health issues. Because I'm not supposed to be going outside and doing a bunch of stuff. I'm not supposed to be pushing myself. I'm not supposed to be exerting myself because of the tissue disease I have. Yet I'm always there, and I'm always doing those things to my detriment. So that was a case of him judging me because he thinks I should just be instantly healed and not have any health issues. All the apostles had health issues that they dealt with, and they weren't healed from them, but yet they healed other people. Sometimes the life you live incurs that kind of stuff, and you have to walk with that thorn in your side, just like Paul did. And there's another person in there that thinks that if you're walking right with the Lord, you should prosper, and by prosper, I mean have a lot of money, have a big house, nice vehicles, should be doing well materially. Well, there are many, many versions of prospering. There's many types of prospering. You can prosper in the Word. You can prosper in your skills. You can prosper where you don't have any want for anything. I want for nothing. I don't have a bunch of money like other people do, but I don't want for anything. I have way more than I need. You can prosper by being blessed by the Lord and having gifts. I have this ministry. Believe it or not, I have more people in this ministry than they have in their church. It's kind of surprising. I just picked up another one today. And I thank you guys for joining in and watching the videos. My only hope is that this stuff gets out and it touches somebody and registers with somebody. And hopefully, if possible, a seed gets planted and it grows. Because this is all about magnifying Jesus and increasing Him and His kingdom. Nothing to do with me. That's why I don't put my name on anything. Nothing to do with me at all. But He's given me this information. He's showing me these things. And He's pushing me and hard to put this stuff out. I only slept an hour last night because I was thinking about this other video that I have to do. I couldn't get it out of my head. So I know the inspiration's coming from Him. And this is what he decided He wanted me to do. I can't get out and evangelize, so now I'm doing it here. Like a lot of other people are doing. We're watchmen. This is our duty we've been given as watchmen, is to sound the alarm, is to tell people, whether it pertains to Scripture or whether it pertains to world events. The rapture is about to happen. Tribulation is about to start. You guys need to prepare yourselves. And I've been saying that, referring to that in almost every video. We're about to see things change heavily in this world. And the fact that Christians are on these videos cussing each other and judging each other and beating each other down and all this stuff that I see going on, this is the furthest from what we should be doing. What we should be doing is coming together under one banner, coming together in one heart, one mind, blessing people, doing good for people. The works thing, it's a whole other video. Don't get me started on that yet, because there's a lot of people that believe, well, I'm saved, I don't have to do anything. You're right. You're saved, you got access to heaven. And then in the next video, I'm going to show you where you can actually make God mad by not doing anything. It's in the Bible. It's in the scriptures, and I'm going to show them to you. That's another video. But the clock is ticking down to midnight really fast. We don't have time. If we make it into April, I would be surprised. I don't know, because I don't know what God's clock is, but I'm telling you guys, as a matter of fact, on the things that I see and how they pertain to the Bible and the things that Jesus has showed me, we got no time left. No time. Because you can clearly see the scriptures are alive. You can clearly see the prophecies being fulfilled. And I'll get some new stuff together, and I'll do a news video maybe later, hopefully, if I got time. But I got to get the rest of the information together for that big video. That's going to be over an hour getting that information out, because there's a lot. But I wanted to share those stories with you guys. I wanted to touch base on this thing where we all do it. I've done it too. I have recently changed my way of looking at things and repented of this stuff. We spend too much time looking at other people, watching other Christians, and critiquing what they're doing, instead of spending more time looking back at ourselves and going, what am I doing wrong? Where am I lacking? What do I need to do to get myself back on that path? Because the goal is not just to get saved. That just gets us access to heaven. The goal is we want to find approval in Jesus' eyes. You want to hear when you get to heaven, well done, my faithful servant, and enter into paradise. You don't want to hear, well, you know what? We need to talk about all these things that you did after you received salvation and all these sins you were still living in. It's a problem. You're not justified to willfully sin. You're supposed to turn away from it. But like I said, that's another video. So I love you guys. I'll try to get another one out on some news events if I can. So if I don't see you in the next video, I will see you guys in the clouds. May God bless you richly in Jesus' name.